Welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookiee Squadcast. We're continuing reading Star Wars Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. This week, our missions are chapters 23 through 30. There's no chaos, there's harmony. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, Sexy One.
It's your simp, Sexy too.
Let's go.
Yes, it is.
All right,
Dive right in.
God damn it. All right, let's get right in. So, who or what do you think Qui-Gon was striking during his vision?
Ooh, good one. Who or what? I was thinking more of, because he said I think it said he felt like he was raising it in defense. So my first thought was blocking, that he was blocking either blaster fire or some kind of a
Attack?
Yeah, just an attack. It didn't, if it was another lightsaber, he would see it, or a weapon, I feel like he would see that, but I feel like it was something like a projectile that might have been coming.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought was raising it like you do when you know somebody's got a blaster and you're about ready to start deflecting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I thought. So somebody is bringing a gun into the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was kind of different. I thought Qui-Gon was down. So, I mean, this is the way I pictured it. It's like, but yeah, in the same way that he was blocking some type of melee block. So it didn't say lightsaber, so I didn't want to assume, and I don't want to assume we see anything red or anything like that. So, but who knows? We could see something, Riel's saber color. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, he was just on the ground is the way I pictured it, just blocking some type of melee attack.
When I was reading it, I think the first time I pictured like Megan set the blaster bolts, and I was like, okay, maybe he's deflecting that, because the way I kind of pictured it was that he was near Fanry while she was
Right.
signing. So I was like, okay, maybe someone's gonna try to like shoot at her or something. So he's gonna block it. But then after like all the fighting and everything, by the time the second vision, I was like, what if he is gonna fight like Rael or it could be Blackguards or someone. I do agree that I think it's something defensive.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, he wouldn't strike down the princess, right? Unless the dart got to her, just like
But
Nim.
she wouldn't be dangerous enough that he would need to.
Well, remember when Nim had the dart?
Yeah,
in her
but
neck?
she would be dangerous, mind controlled. You could mind control Fanry. What's she gonna do?
You never know. That's how I was like, oh, for a second, I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's that?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I guess it would make more sense to defend her, I guess. I don't know.
What if it's against Obi-Wan? So that it's like a mirror of what happened with Rael and Nim. And he has to fight his own apprentice.
No, don't say that.
Oh no. Oh
Don't
no.
say that.
I hope that's not it.
I'm gonna cry.
He won't do it. He won't.
Oh, he better not. I'm gonna be mad at Claudia Gray.
Oh no.
Like, how dare you, Claudia?
That'd be a very interesting vision, though, for it to be Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Very interesting.
How crazy.
Oof.
All right, ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure.
So it's your thoughts on a quote. If I have to repeat the quote, totally fine. Just let me know. Also, for the viewers, if I'm mumbling or I sound funny, just got my braces tightened. So
We will be kind and try really hard to listen to you enunciate.
Okay, ready? Yeah. Too far from the living force, they were no longer the sort of Jedi who could trust in pure vision. Qui-Gon says that about the Jedi Council. What do you think about that? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, I think they'd almost become too structured, too reliant on these methods and rules and just these practices, instead of being flexible and listening to the Force and just interpreting it moment by moment. They almost kind of had rules to the way they would see things and interpret things, and that's mysticism. Easy to reject parts of the Force that used to be legitimate. And so it's not in the moment. That Qui-Gon always says, be in the moment, and that is something that they are not. They're very much we're just gonna debate. They become almost like the Senate, like the Jedi version of what happened with the government, that instead of reacting to things that are really going on in real time, it's more about the process and talking and discussing rules and things like that. So yeah, I know exactly what he meant, and I was like, that's a good way of putting it. That's what's happening to them, which is why they're blind to the changes of the Force and how that ends up blindsiding them, basically.
Yeah. I don't want to fast forward, which I won't. It's I agree with Qui-Gon on this one, because like you said, he's how do I want to say it? um or my version of it is, remember I said last week, is he sees, this on the outside perspective, which, like you said, it's a little bit too structured with the Jedi, and we know how this plays out for them. But yeah, I guess it's the rules that blind the council in itself. So it keeps them from being able to adapt to different changes. And I think with Qui-Gon studying all the prophecies and seeing these visions, like Jedi powers evolve, and the council's not evolving with this evolution of how their powers are growing. I mean, yes, they've been around for so many generations, and the Sith has been around for generations, but I think as time evolves, even as we get to the time of like Luke and the time of Rey, like the powers have evolved exponentially. So I think that's what the council was missing, and that's what also led to their downfall. They didn't adapt, and if people had just listened to Qui-Gon, we would be probably in a different story.
That's the motto of the prequels.
They made him consular for a reason. Listen.
Yeah, come on.
I think this is the first time we've all agreed.
You're right.
Because I agree with Qui-Gon. I respect the council and their decisions, but at the same time, like you guys said, it just feels like they've just kind of closed their minds to the Force, and it's like, you guys are here, you're the highest level of this branch, whatever you want to call it, and the thing that you preach about so much, trust in the Force, believe in the Force, use the Force, be with the Force, they're not doing that. And I'm like, this is, what, it kind of sounds like he's calling them hypocrites, and I agree.
And it's just clearly like the first wedge in between him and the council, where it's almost like bringing a new perspective. His is so different from how they operate that it's like, I don't even know if he would be able to function within the council.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why they wanted a fresh perspective, but
yeah,
at the same time, fresh. It's like, how well would it work, But, yeah. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Already.
All right. So, do you think Obi-Wan was right to call the council behind his master's back? Because he said that it broke like how many rules, and kind of like a dire type situation thing to call them. So the fact that he did without his master knowing, what do you guys think about that?
I think it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pays off for him. That's scary. Like as like a junior level kind of person going straight to the CEO. Like I can't. If I think about it in like a business sense, I'd be like, I don't know if I'd ever do that. Like if I was having trouble with my manager or something, like I wouldn't go talk to the board of directors
Yeah, it's like a
That's
student going to this.
crazy.
It's like a student going straight to superintendent. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like you're skipping over teacher, principal, all that.
Like, I don't know if it was necessary to go to them, because I'm trying to remember now what it was, like why he needed to talk to them. He just needed to give them the full story of what was going on because he wasn't getting anywhere with Rael and he wasn't getting anywhere with Qui-Gon. So he needed someone else to step in.
So it was because Qui-Gon announced at that breakfast, just
He
I don't know.
wasn't,
I'm like, bro,
yeah.
you could have timed this better. But he's like,
I know, like,
I'm
tact.
not going to be there, or I'm not going to take part in the signings here. Not going to have the representatives. That has to be pushed
Okay.
back. And all the adults were trying to talk to Obi-Wan to be like, basically, what's up with your master? And so when he tried to talk to him, Obi-Wan, you know how he's very close-minded, every single thing by the book, and he was like, oh, my master's back on his prophecies, back with the conspiracy theories, even though I think Qui-Gon like had legitimate reason, and he explained it to Obi-Wan, but
Right.
Obi-Wan was basically like, I don't know what to do. I'm at a crossroads because my master's saying this thing, but the council asked us to do this. So he was at a crossroads, and then he called.
Okay, so the dilemma is we need to take another look at this contract. But Qui-Gon's method is just saying, I'm not gonna be there, and therefore it can't be ratified, and therefore the entire point of our mission I refuse to fulfill. So
Yeah, basically.
in that case, yeah, he needs to contact the person who gave them the mission and be like, hey, there's a hang up here that's not gonna, we're not gonna be able to finish this the way that you assigned it to us. I don't know if he needs to go to the whole council. He could just contact one other master and be like, hey, a little help her, like maybe send some backup or something else. But it worked out fine. I was a little like, whoa, go you. Like that's, I don't know if I would do that in a situation. I don't think it's wrong to do it. It just, yeah, he's lucky he got through.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, even when Qui-Gon was trying to contact them before, only one of them was even available. So yeah, so he's lucky he got the entire gang. And I was so proud of little Obi-Wan. He was conducted himself very well in front of all of them.
My answer is going to be kind of split, agree, disagree again. I'll mimic what you said. Like when I first read it, I said he should, like, you go through the chain of command in real life, and probably that's how you should have handled it. How you should have handled the situation, being pressured like that by the governors or just the government of that planet of Pijal. So I agree with you there. But where I disagree now is, now I'm gonna go with both of you and say, yeah, this is where it shows his maturity level, his age level, and not being able to experience situations like this, right? Because it seems like battle situations, no problem. I'm with you, Qui-Gon, all the way. Now it comes to negotiations, which is very like with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan with Anakin. Like negotiations seem to be the theme with this group of Jedi, and I like that. But you got to handle things certain ways, and yeah, we'll say Obi-Wan was young and everything, but I think he should have went to Qui-Gon first, no matter what. I think he was afraid he was going to get yelled at by Qui-Gon or, lectured by Qui-Gon. But Qui-Gon took it, like you said, like he took it very smoothly at the end. And he took it like, whatever my Padawan's going to think he's going to do it. And I'm not going to try to influence his way because has a one trained mindset with what he's going to do. So I like how Qui-Gon played it out. I still think you need to give guidance as a mentor to this mentee who's still lost, who still needs to try to find his way.
I understand why he called the council, and I give him props for being like, let me just go straight up to all of them. So you know what? I give him props for that. But conversation didn't go too well with his master, but he kind of not necessarily that he understands his master's point of view, but he listened to it. So part of me was kind of hoping that this pretty for a teen, like, I mean, teens are smart, they're rational, but like this guy was like, okay, super by the book. So I just kind of figured that maybe he'd go try to get Braille's point of view.
Yeah.
Maybe go talk to the other Pijal people and just kind of put everything together, talk to everyone, and then go back to his master. I wasn't expecting him to actually go to the council. I thought he'd try to do it like on a more basic level. So props to you for having the guts to do that, because I would have been terrified being a 17-year-old and being like, hey, all you super wise people who are top of the chain, this is going on. So I figured he would, talk to the people on the planet with him. And then if that didn't work, talk to one council member. And then if the council member was like, let's talk to all the council members and go from there. So I thought he'd like slowly work his way up. But, I guess just take out the middle steps.
He's so efficient.
Yeah. Save time, right?
It'll happen.
It shall.
All right, guys. Do you think that they'll get Rahara back?
Yes.
I mean, stranger things have happened in Star Wars, so I was like, this is a legitimate question, because you never know. Remember poor Shmi?
Yeah.
Shmi was freed and then she was taken by the Tusken people. Bad things happen.
My first thought is, yes, of course, that's part of the plot, is they're gonna have to figure out how to get her back, or she'll have to re-escape or something like that. Maybe start a whole revolt and then get herself and a bunch of other people out at the same time, something to where it actually ends up better than it would have if she hadn't got recaptured. But Claudia might pull a quick one on me and like kill her or something, and I'll be like, oh, why would you do that? And I'll be very shocked and traumatized, and poor Pax, and I don't even know. So my first instinct is, of course they'll get her back, and it's all going to turn out great, and it's going to be better this way. But now you've planted this dark seed in my mind. What if they don't?
It's possibilities. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask them this, because I feel like someone might have thoughts. It can't just be me.
Oh dear. No. So yeah. So that's my thought.
Oh, I like the revolution thing. Oh my gosh, I was thinking about a Hamilton. There's a glass to freedom.
Maybe that's what'll happen. Maybe.
I mean, that I didn't even think about like a revolt, so that's really cool.
Like
she would do it. Oh yeah.
Like we discussed, I think, after the podcast last week, how my theory is that the Blackguards are ex-slaves that are trying to lead a revolt against Circa and Pajal. So maybe she joins up with them on the inside somehow, and everybody breaks free and they take it down from the inside. Maybe. I don't know. How many chapters do we have left to let this happen?
She would be a Hercules Mulligan, yes.
I don't know.
Sorry to our listeners. I just rewatched Hamilton like the other day, so it's
fresh.
But that'd be so cool. Take it down from the inside.
Good. So maybe, yeah, that's what I want to happen. So let's see. What do you think, Ronald?
I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of a rebellion. But I'll start from when she first got captured or was just about to get captured, and was like kind of not praying to the Force, but kind of like, now at this moment I need the Force kind of thing. And it kind of probably, I don't know how it depends on how you read it, right? And the way I read it was like, maybe now that all this is happening with these Jedis, that now it's time to seek this higher Force power that,
it's a test of her faith,
can kind of like protect me and not go back to the what do you call it, the slavery, the slavery life, excuse me. But yeah, like you definitely want to see this person, because she's probably, I think, had the more headstrong. She's always been the person who has the plan, and Pax was always never questioned what she was gonna do and just let her do it. But she always had a plan, and Pax never really did. And that moment when he gave her, hey, I'm gonna give you this gift, was kind of like, I think, a thank you from him to her, to be like, thank you for uh always being strong, because I can now be strong with, like,
Hmm.
you. And now it's like, whatever happens to her, well, we don't know yet. We'll still have to read the last chapters, but
Do you think
it's
they'll get
gonna
her
be it's
back?
gonna be it's gonna I think they'll I want to believe that. I will say that as the answer. I believe they'll get her back. But like we said, the opposite side of that is that you're gonna have Pax not have his, the person he loves, sort of say, or his inspiration for what
Right.
they do,
Oh.
and everything. And it's gonna be like every Jedi lesson. Like, I learned a lesson from her her passing, and I have to move forward. And that's what I don't want to happen. But I mean, that's just the other side that could possibly happen, I'm guessing.
So, I mean, like you guys, my first thing is like, yeah, they're gonna get her. And then I was like, you know what, Claudia Gray, you've broken my heart before.
Oh, it's
I
true.
love your writing. You are one of my favorite new Star Wars authors, but you've broken my heart before. So I'm just like, plus it's Star Wars. Not everything is all
That's
daisies
true.
and sunshine. So
She's not
first I'm
afraid
like, yeah, they're
to
gonna get her.
hurt her main characters. I'll tell you that.
It hurts in such a good way. I'm just like, oh god. Because you're in
He'll do
pain, but
it
then you're like,
too.
this is such good writing that you're like, I'm kind of okay with this pain because it was so well
Because
written.
she makes you care about the character before it, like, is enough to where when something bad happens, you're like, no, not them. Not every
So
author can do that.
So that's why at first I was kind of thinking, I didn't think about the rebellion thing, but then I was like, okay, that'd be really cool. But I was thinking maybe she might, oh God, so many freaking sacrifices. I'm terrible me. I'm
No.
just like, what if she sacrifices herself for one of the slaves? Or what if there's a chance to free her and then Pax finally gets one human emotion, sacrifices himself for her because he loves her, even though he's basically a droid and doesn't know what the hell that means. So I'm just like, worst case scenario, someone's gonna die.
Oh,
Hopefully not. Please don't, Claudia Gray. Please. I know you wrote this how many years ago, but please don't let this happen.
go back and edit our versions before we get there.
So, best case scenario, yay, they rescue her. They get a little dirty in the process, but yay, they rescue her. Everything's happy. Worst case scenario, someone dies.
Oh my gosh.
But hopefully it'll be some kind of revolution because I want those slaves freed because it's nonsense.
Yeah, I feel like she's not going back in without a fight. Like, she's tasted freedom. She is not going to go quietly into the dark cave.
Yeah, she's a feisty person who cares about other people. She's been there. She knows that pain. So, I mean, the fact that she even like, her little ship could have been shot down when she was just trying to help them in the middle of that. I'm just like, she ain't going down quietly. She's going down with a fight.
She's either going to get out or die trying, and it's going to be one of those two endings.
Can we just talk about for a second oh God, what is he, Captain? The head guard guy.
Darren.
The fact that
Darren.
he was sympathetic, but then at the same time just walked off after being like, I'm so sorry your friend was taken. Okay, bye.
I love him.
I'm just like, I'm gonna fight you. How dare you do that? Like,
he's like, sorry, your friend's a slave again. I gotta go.
He's like, I'm so sorry. She was captured. She's a slave, and okay, bye. And I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna fight you.
Oh, so sensitive.
I'm just like,
yeah, his bedside manner
like,
could use a little work, I think.
A lot of work. I mean, dude, the fact that like Pax actually showed some kind of human emotion, I was like, you can just walk away from that. I'm just like, oh no, okay, that's my side note. I'm ready to fight another Star Wars character.
Oh, at least he tried. He had a little emotion. He usually doesn't show emotion, so.
I mean, I give him props for trying to be sympathetic to them, but at the same time, I'm like, you didn't do enough. But
not good enough.
Anyway, that's my complaint.
What do we got next?
All right, so we're in our last leg. What are your final predictions for the book?
Mm-hmm. Oh
So
boy.
this is an open-ended question.
Open-ended. I think kind of like we touched on before, I think Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are going to come to some sort of an understanding and an appreciation and be a united force by the end of this. And I don't know how or why, but I do know that they're going to leave this book on the same page. Page is a book pun for you. And I'm thinking Qui-Gon's vision's gonna come true. Like it's gonna for somehow they're gonna talk him in, or the council's gonna be like, "You better get in there, sign that treaty." And so he's gonna get in there, and then it's all gonna start happening just like he saw, and it's gonna be like, "No, crap, no, this is exactly how it was," and it's all gonna start going down that way. So it's gonna turn out his vision was true, and then I think I've speculated before. I think Rael is going to sacrifice himself to save Fanry. So I think whatever it is that's coming in there to attack them, that Qui-Gon is raising his lightsaber in to defend against, that Rael's going to take the hit. That Qui-Gon's not really going to need to engage by the end of this. That maybe, yeah, Rael's going to sacrifice himself. And now, but now I'm like thinking of all these other. I'm like, what if he's the one that Qui-Gon has to fight? Like, oh, I don't know. Million ideas, but that, yeah, so that's what I've kind of been thinking was gonna happen, and I think, yeah, that's gonna be how it goes down. I think there's gonna be a slave revolt. I think Circa's going down. Like,
Ooh.
yeah, I think the Black Guards have something to do with it. I don't know if this opposition is gonna I think maybe they'll just come to the table at the end with the monarchy and be like, "Hey, we want more representation." Oh, okay, happy ending. But I think the Blackguard is going to be something to do with the slaves and with Circa, and that they're going to somehow take that down. My predictions.
I like those.
Yeah. Well, let's turn the page because we're almost on the same book, you and me. No, yeah, a lot of the things you said, I agree. There was a lot of talk of how trying to look into the future leads to the dark side, right?
So do you predict someone's going to go dark?
No, yeah, well, I mean, who knows, right?
Like his favorite.
But Qui-Gon and Rael did study these prophecies under Dooku, and we knew what happened to Dooku. Now we don't know what happens to Dooku because Dooku has his own book. Maybe it says something over there, but they keep that where he left the order very open, and it's just like it's always, even till episode 2. Even I know there was books about Dooku, is always that. And I'm not going to give away the title of Dooku's book, but they keep it very open ended when he left the order, as well as in episode 2. Like, it's just, oh, he was a Jedi, he could never do anything bad, but he left the order for we don't know what.
So what are your predictions then?
But I feel like somebody might go dark using the prophecies, and I think behind it all, I think Riel might be using prophecies in order to protect Fenry, and because he's so, if it's consumed him already, let's just say that by the next chapters that the prophecies have consumed him, maybe even way before, then he is already on his way to the dark side, because you can't be angry. And when he's trying to protect her, his obsession for protecting her is anger. I mean, I read it angry. So
yeah, no, it comes off really angry.
You're already in the first steps. You're like, Qui-Gon's your friend. You've known Qui-Gon. You studied with Qui-Gon. And just because Qui-Gon's not gonna do something, you're gonna get mad at him.
Well, it's because he's got an attachment now.
Right.
Which that's the forbidden thing. That leads to the dark side.
Yeah, because it's a selfish attachment at that point. Because I mean, there's examples of good, or I mean, I don't know if you would call it good, but like healthy attachments, but that fool is definitely not healthy.
That is not healthy.
Yeah, and we saw it with, it's just with every Jedi who's gonna start to go on that path. Every fallen Jedi starts off this way. I'd love to see him go dark side, and
Mm.
I'd love to see battles between Jedi color lightsaber colors of the same order, um, just like we've seen so far. But yeah, other things like I want to see what the opposition really is to this, or are they really not anything? I believe that they are something to it. Maybe they're royal protectors in disguise, because they are, in my opinion, clowns. So, but
How dare you.
another thing I like was that we saw
All
droidicas
right.
in this.
Oh, the Droidicas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, and like how Obi-Wan was talking about, oh, they shoot 5 times faster than a human does. I was like, oh, okay, so you really have to have Jedi powers to really block these things.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these Jedis who fought in Geonosis couldn't even block these. Well, there was too many then, but in this situation, I like what they're being used as for. Who's supplying these governments or these planets with this type of security? Where is that all coming from? Was questions I came up with.
Wasn't it? I thought it
It was
was
Circus.
Circus.
The
Yeah, it was
circus?
Circus.
Okay.
Yeah, it was theirs.
Yeah, I think it's just
Um,
their
and so it's
security.
like if you're getting it, like, man, and you have this technology, like, where are you getting all this from? Even though it's yours, it still had to be built somewhere else.
I
Um,
mean, it's a corporation, so they have money and they can
Probably
just get
own a lot of
whatever.
they
droids.
just buy. One last thing was, it's not really a prediction, but it's
Mhm.
something we've seen in the future movies that I'm just like, oh, I've
Mm.
I've always wondered why they always go back to back, kind of thing. And that's called triangulate. Thank you to Claudia Gray for that, because now I can go up to another Jedi and just be like, triangulate, and go back to back before you do the cool moves. But I love the action of the Jedi here. And there's also something Claudia said about them coming together, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon coming together
Mm.
whenever it comes to battle. So it seems like where they come page to page is not the negotiations, but whenever these two go into battle together, I think that's how they relate to each other, which is really cool.
Through violence. Oh, and one more prediction. I think Katie's the mole.
You
Yeah.
keep saying that.
I think I said it when we weren't recording last time.
Oh, I thought you
So
did.
I
Oh,
want it
right,
on
right.
the record now.
Okay.
So you guys know me. I love a good redemption arc for characters that deserve it.
Yes.
Kylo does not deserve it. I'm still salty about that anyway.
We
I
don't
want
speak
a
about it.
redemption arc for Rao. I want him to die because I'm still so angry about the whole Nim thing. I know we knew her for 2 sentences, but I'm just like, your Padawan deserved better.
That would be the ultimate redemption, though.
So I'm thinking, okay, this dude who was spoiled basically his entire life because, oh, you poor baby, we brought you in too late. You don't fit in, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, no, you're just spoiling this kid. So I'm like, okay, this spoiled dude who got his Padawan killed, it was all his fault, definitely his fault. Seems like he feels remorse. I'm happy about that. You better feel bad about that. And he developed this unhealthy attachment to Fanry. So I'm just
Immediately.
thinking, so even if he doesn't go dark, I hope he sacrifices himself for her or for someone else. And I will be happy. I'll be like, yay, redemption. You finally did the right thing, dude. Because you're just like blowing up on Obi. When you asked him to go, he told you, hey, outside opinion, I noticed this. Oh, I don't believe you, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, then why are you going to ask him to come if you don't want to listen to what he has to say? So redemption for all that. I hope that the Moon people get their voices heard, and I hope that they finally get representation because, gosh darn, they deserve it. They're people. This is ridiculous. I'm hoping / predicting that at the end of all this madness that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon will have a better understanding, because by episode 1 they seem to understand each other so much better. And I hope we get that explanation in this book. I just want an explanation how they went from this to that, and I'm hoping that that's going to be at the end. So I'm hoping / predicting that it'll be that.
Yeah.
Revolution. Take down Circa. Take them down.
Do it.
Rahara and Pax, for the love of God, get together, please. This is like such long,
No.
tiny.
Kiss.
Where are my toys? No kiss. The only toys I have near me are Among Us crewmate and a Wolverine toy, and I was like, no, don't do that.
It doesn't count.
Doesn't count. So
I'm
is-
rooting for them too, though. Yeah, I like that ending.
I mean, I hate and love pining because I'm just like, oh, it's so cute, the slow burn, and then I'm like, oh my god, just get together. But it's so well written. I was like, I can wait. I'll wait. So those are my predictions / hopes.
Very good.
I want pain, but happiness.
I prepare myself because I hadn't even thought about it, but you're right. It's Claudia. She could do one to us in these last few chapters because we are about to finish this book, right?
Mhm.
This next week is the last few chapters.
Yeah. Chapters
Okay.
31 through 38.
31 through 38. So anybody reading along with us, make sure you read all the way to the end of the book. Let's see who has figured out how this is going to go and who was way off the mark, and then how we feel about how it actually goes down. I am excited to see how this all gets wrapped up and look forward to talking to you guys all about it next time. So yeah, I don't think we have any crazy hashtags this week, but that's fine. We'll just keep reading this book.
Who's gonna die?
Who's gonna die?
Predict who's gonna die. Hashtag who's dying next.
Oh no. Maybe somebody will. They're not all gonna make it out of this alive. I know that.
All right, guys. Hashtag who's dying next.
Yeah.
Let us
Give
know.
us your predictions. No spoilers.
Use your visions. Use your prophecies.
Yeah. What do you predict?
Prophesize what's gonna happen.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. It's been an exciting ride, and we'll see how this all goes by the end of next week. So that is it for Sexy Wookiee Squadron Book Club this week. And I think the Sexy Wookiees are heading out now. Sexy Wookiees.
And away.